Welcome back, Boilermaker fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for a special edition of the Purdue Report with Jake Dunn. Joined today by guest Mike Rich, our Pacers guy, who wanted to give some of his thoughts on the Boilermakers. He, of course, is also a Purdue fan. We are reacting to Purdue's tough 79-72 victory over Iowa. It was a rough one. I think it's probably the most competitive game Purdue's played all year, Jake, and it was probably the first game in the final minute we weren't exactly sure who was going to win.
I think certainly since the Alabama game, it seems like this is the toughest game that Purdue's played, and it was a pressure win. Wasn't a pretty one by any stretch of the imagination, but what was sort of a revealing one. Purdue was able to absorb Iowa's best punch. I mean, they were hot from the floor, especially in the first half. They came out with a lot of confidence. They were hustling, and Purdue was able to take that away finally in the second half with their defense composure and late game execution. So Iowa was shooting like 70% from three at halftime, and I mean, they had a few that just got lucky rolls off the rim, and they just made tough shots in the first half. And that's the kind of shooting and that's the kind of luck that can bury some teams, but not Purdue. So I was pretty impressed at the end with Purdue's fight for about definitely the first half. Purdue didn't really look like they wanted to be there, but they kind of woke up there shortly after halftime and were able to pull this one out.
Jake, I thought Ben McCollum's game plan coming into this game was fantastic. I thought he had Purdue confused, particularly Braden Smith at times in the first half.
The first half.
Second half, Jake, I've rarely seen a better half by a Purdue player in my life. Just spectacular.
Yeah, he really took over after a pretty pedestrian first half. To me, it kind of looked like he wasn't really himself offensively. And I think part of that certainly was Iowa's game plan with him. It looked like he was just trying to force passes and orchestrate rather than kind of impose his will, which he did more in the second half. Still had 4 assists, but the floor never really fell out there for him. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with Iowa in this game. We talked about kind of their tough shot making and some of those lucky bounces, but they looked like, for most of the game, they looked like they were, out hustling Purdue, and Mackey, and that's not something that a lot of teams can say that that they've done. So there for a little bit, I was getting a little nervous, but Purdue was able to finally get it together, and a large part into Braden Smith, him kind of taking control there in the second half.
Mike Rich and Jake and I are going to talk about where Braden Smith fits in historically at Purdue. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say I think what looks like a lack of effort sometimes was a bit more confusion. Iowa gave Purdue a look that they hadn't seen, that they weren't expecting, and it took a little while to solve it. Of course, like we said, once he solved it, he completely solved it. But I think Ben McCollum's going to be a problem in this league.
I think so too. He was kind of working the refs a little bit there too, just like somebody else I know up in East Lansing. So I think he may be the next version of Tom Izzo in the sense of working the refs. So it seems like he's going to be a really good coach. He's been able to get some good players on the team there, and they've played some good teams. Pretty close. They played Iowa State really close earlier in the season, and they've had a couple other games they've played pretty well. So. Certainly looking like he's going to be a problem, like you said.
And part of it was just they were hitting lucky shots, and Purdue's had a huge advantage underneath. Both of their big men got in foul trouble early. A lot kind of went against Purdue, and they still were able to find a way to win. Probably their worst game, though, in this little stretch.
I believe so. So they've had a good stretch here, and also in foul trouble. At Sturts, he was picked up a second foul early, like within 5 minutes of the game, he had 2 fouls. Right. And McCollum sat him out for a little bit, just for a couple minutes, and he went right back in. And he actually should have got his 3rd foul. And towards the end of the first half, he bumped Braden Smith when he was going up for a shot. and it didn't get called. So he got a little lucky there. But he didn't. He still had his. He ended up with 15 points. Still kind of got his numbers, but he didn't look particularly too good here against Purdue.
And I thought a lot of guys did a lot of good things, but Braden Smith was the story of this one.
For sure. And like you said, TKR and Oscar Clough both being in foul trouble early, that certainly mattered. I think they looked, especially with Oscar Clough in this game, looked a lot better with him out on the floor. TKR, he kind of had a rough night, I thought, but just overall, Purdue looked better with their bigs on the floor.
Yeah, but I don't think they win that game without Trey Kaufman-Wren's effort. He did a lot of good things. I know it was rough at times, but he did some good things there, especially at the end.
I liked him not giving up the ball to the Iowa player.
What a weak technical foul! I've never seen a weaker technical foul in my life than that.
Yeah, that was pretty bogus. No, Jakari Harris did not deserve that technical.
Neither one of them did.
Yeah, I agree. Should have just been play on. It shouldn't have been attack on anybody.
Exactly. And they spent 5 minutes reviewing it, which is just absolutely ridiculous. 16 more points, 8 more assists for Braden Smith, 6 for 9 from the field, 4 for 4 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, did just about everything right in the second half. And let's put Braden Smith into historical perspective. Mike and I have been around since the Troy Lewis, Todd Mitchell national contender teams all the way to now. So brought in Mike to have a little bit of a historic perspective, but I think we're going to have to start considering the possibility that Braden Smith leaves Purdue as their all-time greatest player, Jake.
I think it would certainly be close. I think if he wins Purdue their first national championship, I don't really know if there's much of an argument to make that he's not the greatest player ever to wear a Purdue jersey. But that is a tall statement, though, because there have been some very good players here, as we'll discuss.
I want to be clear. Greatest Purdue career. He's definitely not a better player than Glenn Robinson was. I just want to make that clear. If you didn't see Glenn Robinson, you missed that.
Saw him in high school. I saw him in high school.
Right.
I think Braden Smith could leave Purdue as having the greatest career. And that's one, he's been there for 4 years. So that gives him a little bit of advantage. I love that he's from Westfield, Indiana. Matt Painter kept him in state, but he's having a fantastic career. He's a floor general. You wouldn't want anybody else on that team with the ball at the end of a game like this. And he just proved why he will end his career as having the best career for Purdue. And if we get a national championship with Braden Smith and not the team we had a couple of years ago, that'd be awesome. I don't know what else to say. It'd just be awesome. We deserve it, and especially if Indiana University wins a damn national championship on Monday, Purdue definitely deserves a basketball national championship.
Man, IU people are going to be impossible to live with, aren't they?
They're going to be awful. They are going to be absolutely awful. Hester, that's to you, man. Love you, Hester.
That's right.
But
8 more assists tonight for Braden, which moves him to 922 for his career. He could pass DJ Cooper of Ohio, who graduated in 2013, to move into 13th place in their next game as they go out west. We'll preview that here in just a second. And that puts him 17 away from the great Gary Payton in 12th place.
Going to be awesome to see. I mean,
and as Jake mentioned on this week's Purdue report, if he just keeps doing 8-9 a game, right, Jake?
If he keeps averaging 9.8 assists a game, which I know this game he had 8, but if he maintains that average, he would break the assist most likely in the Big Ten semifinals. So he would need 7 assists in that game, again keeping this 9.8 a game average. That he'd break it before the March Madness tournament, and I think that would be certainly a big weight off his shoulder.
And he is 78 assists away from being the 5th player ever with 1,000 for his career. Can't say enough about the young man. He's an all-timer.
Yes, he is, and as Mike was saying there, it just means a lot. At least being from Indiana, for me, it means a lot that you have the potential to have the one of the greatest point guards in college basketball history. From Indiana, chose to stay in Indiana, go to Purdue. He had opportunities to go and leave for more money, and he and Fletcher Lawyer and Trey Kaufman-Wren all decided to stay. They chose Purdue, and chose to go and try and win a national championship with Purdue and Matt Painter. So just means a lot, and would certainly be a huge accomplishment for not only Braden Smith, but also the Purdue as a university, and Indiana as a state.
Westfield is your neighbor over there in Tipton.
It's right down the road there, and Braden Smith actually, when we were in high school, he played. It was his freshman year. He and Westfield came to Tipton and kicked our butt. So I don't even think they had a game plan for Tipton. I don't even think they scouted us, and they still came in and whipped our butts.
It sounds like how they managed the first half of this game tonight. They didn't have a game plan going into it to match Iowa's defense, but they figured it out in that second half.
It was crazy. It was such a defensive performance in the first half, and then the second half, what was it? 13 times in a row down the court the team scored. The game just completely flipped at halftime.
Yeah.
There was a run there of 11 combined made shots in a row. So that was pretty crazy to see. Purdue, to your point, in the second half kind of turned on the defense and really got a boost from those live ball turnovers that Purdue was able to score off of, and that really kind of flipped the game in Purdue's favor. So Jakari Harris was a big part of that. Just his on-ball pressure, and I think he was able to generate a steal or two. Daniel Jacobson was obviously his length and deterrence at the rim plays a big factor there, as well as his presence on the boards. And Braden Smith, I mean, he's just the head of the snake on both sides of the ball, really, whenever he's playing, strong defense. I feel like the rest of the team is as well. And he's just so good at pestering, the other players and in the crowd. And there's multiple times where he was getting the crowd amped up, and it's great to see it. He's good at making reads and jumping those passing lanes. So when Purdue was able to force those turnovers, it really kind of slowed Iowa's rhythm down, and eventually that Mackey crowd woke up. So there for a little bit in the first half, it seemed pretty quiet, but then the second half, that 100 straight sellout, it finally mattered, and I think made a difference in the game.
And now they go out west, and neither USC or UCLA is very good, but neither one of them is bad. Both are going to be pretty decent tests. Jake, what are you expecting to see Saturday against USC and then at UCLA on Tuesday?
Yeah, honestly, I think we'll kind of see more of what we saw here against Washington, Penn State, and Iowa. I think every team is going to get up for Purdue. Everybody knows Purdue's really the kind of the one to beat here in the Big Ten Conference. So I think every team's going to get up and want to play their best game against Purdue, and so I think we'll see more the same. I still think Purdue's going to win these games, but I think it'll be they'll be fairly close and ones that Purdue can look back on later in the season and learn from.
6 of the next 8 away from home, Mike, including trips to Iowa, Nebraska, Indiana, Maryland, USC, UCLA. In those 8 games, Mike, what's their record going to be?
I would give them at least 7-1.
Jake, 8-0? Do I hear 8-0?
I wish that you've called out some tough ones. If they play Iowa plays like they did tonight, I think that could be one that they drop. Nebraska, if they keep playing like they've been playing, I think that one could be a loss. Also have at IU. I mean, IU's looked fairly decent this year, at least at home. So obviously that's always going to be a close game. So I'm going to say 6-2 of the next 8.
Come on, Jake. I'll take the over for sure. Which ones are they losing? Nebraska and Iowa would. All right, we'll figure it out. They're not losing it.
That's a tough road trip.
That is.
Nebraska, then Iowa.
Michigan at home is the next one.
Illinois. Illinois is not going to lay down for them either. So,
and that Illinois game is after the West Coast road trip. So
yeah,
Purdue. There's a chance Purdue could be a little sluggish coming back from that trip, and obviously that's a big game, one that Purdue really needs to win. I mean, these games against the Iowas, the USC's, the UCLA's, Wisconsin's, those are against those kind of inferior opponents. That affords Purdue to lose a game at IU or at home against Michigan. These taking care of business, winning the games at home, beating these opponents you're supposed to beat. That affords you some mulligans later on in the season to still be in contention there for the Big Ten race.
How could you forget Indiana is one of the inferior opponents?
I didn't want to call them out there, but those games are usually pretty close. IU's a pretty volatile team. I feel like they're either top 20 worthy or they're like barely making the tournament worthy. So it just kind of depends on the night. So I think they could definitely give Purdue a run for their money, and obviously the crowd's going to be amped up for that game.
Yeah, and damn Bloomington, Hoosiers, IU, they're going to have the national championship football team there and recognizing them that night probably.
That's right.
To just give it just more electricity in that crowd. And I am looking forward to that game. I'm definitely looking forward to the Indiana game. But again, they got a tough, you said 8 games, but the 9th game is Michigan.
Right. And then Indiana at home, then Michigan State at home.
Yeah.
So, the Big Ten's not easy. I still think Purdue goes 9-1 in that stretch. From what I saw tonight, if they're against the ropes, Braden Smith can bail them out.
Just extremely resilient. No panic, and was able to make adjustments at halftime, did what they needed to do. Just business as usual for this team. Hopefully they can just continue with that kind of plan and take that all the way through the rest of the season. I think you had them. Did you have them losing a game this season when we did the preseason pick?
Of course not.
I didn't think so.
They've already lost one more than I predicted, Mike.
So you're wrong.
Mike, I'm never wrong. I just adjust. Jake, that turnaround baseline jumper tonight by Braden Smith that didn't touch anything but net was an NBA shot.
For sure. He's really shown here the past couple of games that he has a spot in the NBA, and he's just so good at that baseline, turnaround jumper, and really his kind of pull up mid range jumper. He tends to fade on those a little bit too, and those are they're not automatic, but they're pretty close to automatic. So just he's put a lot of work in, put a lot of time in with those shots, and it's certainly paid off here in the games.
Before we go, Mike, I just want to bring up a name that you may not remember, and this is who Braden Smith reminds me of. Scott Skiles from Michigan State. A guy was tough as nails, made all the right shots, made all the right plays, and Braden Smith's even better.
Oh.
And by the way, Scott Skiles played about a decade in the NBA as well. So.
Right.
Still holds the record for assists in a game.
Who, Skiles?
Yeah.
How many?
30.
30 assists in a college game?
No, NBA.
NBA. Okay. Man, that's still pretty impressive.
No kidding.
And you're saying that Braden Smith you feel is better than Scott Skiles?
Yes. Go watch some film of Scott Skiles, how good he was, man. And Braden's even better, Jake. You familiar with Scott Skiles?
Yeah, I know the name. I know that he's a really good passer, but I haven't seen any film on him.
Plymouth's very own. Go watch his high school championship game at Plymouth because it's the most unbelievable thing you'll ever see.
Okay.
So, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And thanks, everyone, for listening. Always appreciate it. Please do us a huge favor. Share this podcast with a Purdue fan in your life. Help us spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about every single day. Boiler up, guys.
Boiler up.
Boiler up. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, please.
That's right. Do what Jake says. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.